Well, no Phil Connors or an alarm clock, but Groundhog Day set to take place for the third straight year in Patriot League Women's Lacrosse. Loyola and Navy both with big wins Friday night. The Greyhounds taking out VU. And of course the Mids with a big one over Lehigh. They'll meet once again, 1 seed versus 2 seed to decide who goes to the NCAA tournament. Greyhounds, Mids, next on the Patriot League Network on Campus Insiders.
Stride and the score.
Shoots and scores the game winner.
She passes it front, good look, put away. Takes it towards the crease, bounces one in.
Tournament and regular season champions for the third straight year. The Ridley Athletic Complex here in Baltimore, Maryland, started our broadcast this afternoon where we're all set to crown a champion in Patriot League Women's Lacrosse. The finals today between the top seed Loyola Greyhounds and the Navy Mids. Quick look at the bracket. Friday night, Navy meeting late heroics to get a 1-goal victory over the Lehigh Mountain Hawks. And Loyola a dominant second half in a win over VU. Hi everybody, so glad that you're with us. Matt Martucci, the Army head coach, Kristen Skyra. If it feels like we've been in this situation before, it's because we have. Third straight year that we have this matchup on our hands. And Cindy Timchel and her coaching staff, they went to the lab Friday night to try and figure out how they're going to stop Jen Adams' Greyhounds.
Definitely. I mean, these two teams have been dominant in the league the past few years. They both have had great seasons, and these teams definitely have some similarities. They're both really dominant on the draw, and they also have really high-powered offenses. So I think it's going to be a really close matchup today.
Navy needing a late goal the other night. 4 of them, what they ended up getting from Meg O'Donnell, really impressive.
Yeah, she's a really smart player. She's really slippery off ball. She reads her defense really well, and she's just been a consistent scorer for them. She finished a few really great shots on the doorstep where she was able to fake and shoot around the goalie, so she's a sharpshooter for them.
O'Donnell and Jenna Collins combining for what was 7 of their goals the other night. For the Greyhounds, the draw control circle. No Taylor Van Thoff because of an illness, but Sabrina Tabasso performed like she'd been doing it all year.
Oh yeah, Sabrina Tabasso really stepped up on Friday night. She was able to actually set a new Patriot League tournament draw control record with 18 draw controls, which is so impressive. The ball was in her stick a ton in the semifinal game, and she was really able to do some great things for Loyola.
Van Thoff listed as day-to-day, expected to be out again, so Tabasso with her hand on the reins again for the Greyhounds, who try and win what is their 4th straight Patriot League tournament title. Navy, meanwhile, thinking upset. We'll have the opening draw. The Mids, the Greyhounds. It's coming up on the Patriot League Network on Campus Insiders. Third straight year that Navy and Loyola meet here in the Patriot League Women's title game. Kristen Skyra, Matt Martucci, and now the third member of our team. We send it down to the sideline, say our first hello to Morgan Uber.
These head coaches are very familiar with each other, not just because it's the third consecutive year these two teams are meeting in the championship game, but head coach Jen Adams played for Cindy Timchel at the University of Maryland. She was a 3-time national player of the year under Timchel, and she started on that team when they ended up winning 4 straight. Now, Adams would have Timchel would have the first opportunity to be the first Patriot League team to beat the Greyhounds. So Matt, we'll see if Navy and Timchel can get it done today.
Yeah, Morgan, the question this weekend, could they get over the hump? Can they actually do it today? I'm going to put you on the spot there, one try, Sky. Is this going to be the day?
I do. I think it's going to be an incredible game. I think it's really going to come down to draw controls. I also think it's going to be really important for Navy's goalkeeper Boyum to make some big saves today. Loyola has some of the best shooters in the conference, maybe even in the country. So I think that Boyum's definitely going to have to step it up. She's going to be seeing a lot of shots, and hopefully if they can make some saves, give Navy some momentum, it could be potentially be Navy's turn.
Now there's Cindy Timchel and her 8 national championships, the all-time winningest coach in NCAA women's lacrosse history. Her teams have never won less than 13 games during her time at the Naval Academy.
Yeah, they've had a great year. Even this year, their strength of schedule has increased significantly in the past few years. They had a few ACC games on their schedule this year. I think the last ACC matchup Navy had was against UVA down in Charlottesville, and they played them in a really tight game down there. So the program has definitely improved since its, I think, 10 years or so of existence.
Ingrid Boyum once again in goal for Coach Timchel and the Mids. And Jen Adams on the opposing sideline has led her team in 9 seasons to 10 or more wins every year.
Yeah, I mean, both teams, you know, between the combined kind of strength of schedule for both of these teams is really remarkable. Loyola really pushed themselves out of conference this year, and this is going to be a really fun game.
Katie Glynn in goal for the Greyhounds. Career high 18 saves the last time these two met. Boy, what a matchup today. Tabasso Collins to get things going for the Patriot League Women's Lacrosse Championship. Someone's going back to the NCAA tournament.
That's an ideal outcome for Navy for the first draw of the game, for Jenna Collins to be able to get that ball to her sister, Julia Collins, who's the team leader in draw controls. It's a good start.
Yeah, they were fairly even the other night with Lehigh in most categories.
And I think when we were looking at the stats from the last time that these two teams met earlier in the season, there really was no one dominant person on the draw control for either team. Draws were relatively even, so it'll be interesting to see if any team or player could establish dominance on the draw control today.
Mids in the attack zone. Collins and Tabasso matched up. Andy O'Sullivan watched by Geiger.
And Loyola coming out of the gates with a man-to-man defense. And we really applauded Lehigh on their defense against Navy in the semifinal game. It looks like Loyola is playing a little similar in terms of, you know, kind of you see their defenders packed in on the 8-meter.
It just felt like the other night the Mountain Hawks had a really, really good game plan coming in.
Definitely. I think Coach Adams would be smart to maybe steal a little bit of that game plan and implement it today.
Take a page out of Jill Redfern's book. Yeah, you're 100% right. Outside of 12 meters, the Collins sisters playing catch. Minute and 20 seconds in what is the 7th meeting in the history of these two schools in this series.
Shot clock is about 6 seconds left. Navy's going to have to try and get off a shot here on Cage.
And won't get one off, or at the last second, Larkin.
Yeah, strong defensive possession for Loyola to start the game.
So now the Greyhounds offense. Now up to 13.5 goals a game, giving up about 11. 2 minutes in their first try.
And I do think, you know, when I think about Loyola, I think it'll be interesting to see if they push tempo this game. I do think they are a dangerous team out of offensive transition, something that Coach Jen Adams spoke about a little bit prior to the tournament starting. So I would expect them to try and get some easy shots on Cage out of transition. You see one right there. Nice.
Boyum, yeah, up to the task on Geiger.
Yeah, nice feed inside. I believe that was Powers to Whiteford, and Boyum was right there ready to make that save.
2:20 into the first half. Mids, good clearing team, as are both of these programs. 83% for Navy coming in.
Definitely, even in the semifinals, I feel like you know, the teams were really strong. All 4 teams were really strong in their clearing. You know, this time of year, you're not making too many unforced errors in your offensive transition.
Julia Collins back up top. Jenna Collins. Tabasso shielding her. Shot clock about halfway gone. Young getting to the cage, and that would have counted, but the whistle first.
Yeah, and that was just a great righty take. Kind of Navy just did a nice clear out so Morgan Young could get to her strong hand, to her right hand.
50% on her opportunities this year. Young challenging Glynn, and Glynn wins. No, maybe not. No, she does not.
Yeah,
Navy on the board.
That was a tough angle there. You know, that ref, you know, it was a tough angle from where we're sitting right now, but the ref did call that as a goal. And so we'll probably get a replay of that and see it at a better angle, but.
With 26:59 remaining in the first half.
Yeah, that was a really close save. Morgan Young just snuck it into the goalie's weak side. And they get on the board first.
Based on Glynn's reaction initially, I thought she was able to deflect it with the stick, but not the case.
Yeah, that's a really tough break for a goalkeeper. Her stick was definitely so close to getting there.
Collins and Tabasso meet for the second time. And obviously good momentum for the Mids to be able to strike first. Two teams met back in mid-March. 4-goal Greyhound win, which they, as they usually do, spread out the scoring. 3 different players ended up with a hat trick that time around.
Definitely. Hannah Powers, Whiteford, and Camille all had hat tricks in their last matchup. And that's a great draw for Tabasso, putting it to that empty space on the circle and running onto it, using her momentum to pop that ball forward into her offensive direction. That was a really good draw. And she gets fouled and is able to push tempo again here. See from Loyola, Boyum stepping out of the cage, playing aggressively.
Nice feed toward Earhart. Ended up with a big game in the semifinals, along with Frankie Camille. They had Savage briefly. Powers coming off a 4-goal game, getting to the middle of that zone. Smith with a good defensive play, but a whistle.
Yeah, that was a really good crash by the Navy defenders. Looks like they got a little too much body contact inside the 8-meter, and Powers is going to have a nice look at the cage here on an 8-meter. But first, she's going to have to go chase her ball. This is a tournament championship. Nobody, Navy's not going to do her a favor by chasing that ball for her.
No, and especially with the way the last couple have gone, meeting for the 3rd straight year.
And she does have Tabasso on her left side if she doesn't want to take this in herself.
Powers denied by Boyum.
And Boyum coming up with her 2nd save early in the game. That's going to be huge for Navy to have her playing really well.
Believe it or not, is, with their scoring offense, leading the league in goals against average.
It was actually a kick save by Boyum. Kept her feet active and moving and was able to get her body behind that shot.
Hubley goes back to Boyum. Statistician Dan O'Connell tells us Navy 11-1 when scoring first. So now we'll see if that ends up playing out. Of course, the one team I believe to beat them in that situation, the Greyhounds.
Yeah, getting the first draw of the game, first goal of the game is a huge deal. As a matter of fact, on our team, it was a performance goal this year. We kept track of how many games, we were able to corral the first draw and score the first goal, and it does correlate to wins majority of the time.
Just with the psyche of sports, you would think it has to.
Definitely.
Young, the little spark plug, bounce shot, and a whistle beforehand again. Morgan Young liking that right arc inside that right 8-meter mark.
Yeah, a really similar take to the take that she had in the last possession. It'll be interesting to see if Loyola can force her back to her left hand, or at least get a double onto Morgan Young, which is a hard task to do with her quickness.
And uses the left this time, wide left.
Yeah, put the stick in her left hand, I believe, for that 8-meter shot to try and get a better angle on cage.
Julia Collins will trigger. Nice move for O'Sullivan, but shut off. Good slide for the Greyhounds.
Definitely Loyola really quick to send these doubles to the top drivers, Andy O'Sullivan and Jenna Collins, and Morgan Young being 3 of the biggest top driving threats, as you can see. Those 3 players taking turns.
Young with the roll dodge, drew with the double team. Collins coming across the body, and Glenn says no.
And that's a great effort by Loyola's defense. If you're going to allow Jenna Collins a shot, it's going to be a low angle shot with pressure on, which just occurred.
Through traffic, and the Hounds nearly lose this ball, but Earhart saying no such thing.
Yeah, great hustle play by Earhart to come out of nowhere to win that 50-50 ball for her team.
And big play by Hubley, but some contact. Megan Hubley, the Philadelphia area native, Westchester, PA. And this team's captain. Greyhounds keep the possession. 6 minutes in, down 1-0 on the Young goal. And a violation on the mids.
Yeah, and Loyola just doing a great job keeping the ball hot, moving the ball. And they're able to get a really quick 8-meter out of transition.
A couple of dodges for Powers, takes a shot to the head.
Yeah, Hannah Powers did a great job of kind of digging into the heart of the defense, trying to get a better angle on her shot, and was fouled as she brought the stick to her front side to protect it. Yeah, in that situation, it's really tough, you know, discipline-wise. As a defender, you have to try and crash as low to the body as possible and not go for the stick. And Ingrid Boyum.
Another one for Boyum.
Yeah, tale of two games for her. She's already got to feel really good about this performance so far.
Third save of the afternoon for Ingrid Boyum.
That was a great save. Looked like Hannah Powers tried to go 5-hole on her there. Blake Smith getting the job done in the clear and getting that ball to her offensive players.
One of those defenders that honestly may not get enough credit from Navy.
Definitely. She's involved in the clear for them consistently. She has great speed. She's also just a lockdown defender back there on the crease. Great overall athleticism.
Leads the team at caused turnovers, Smith. Collins twins, and now O'Sullivan, this time drawing the ire of Tabasso. Nice face dodge. O'Sullivan nearly got to the middle of the zone.
Yeah, and just like that, the shot clock is already at about 25 seconds.
Collins with a nice move and will draw the whistle with 19 on the shot clock.
Yeah, Jenna Collins is dangerous from the 8-meter. She's tough. You definitely want to play her physically because she is such a dominant player and she's really strong, but not at the risk of putting her on the 8-meter. She's definitely a sharpshooter from the 8.
And buries it.
Yeah, again, you can see how just versatile of a player she is. She's so great shooting powerfully with her right and her left hand. For that 8-meter, they got a really good angle on that shot. She put the stick in her left hand. Had really had no defenders crashing from her left side and was able to get a great low shot.
With 22-34,
just beat the goalie, stick side low.
Navy goal, number 44, Jenna Collins, unassisted.
Great start for Navy so far. I know they had that first slow possession in terms of getting a shot clock violation and not really getting any great looks out of the gate, but I think Ingrid Boyum making those 3 early saves has been huge for them.
It's getting the job done in their free position opportunities, 2 for 3. Greyhounds so far dealing with a goose egg both on the scoreboard and via the free poke.
So we'll see if Jenna's able to make some adjustments on this draw. Tabasso obviously would probably like to do what she did the last time and pop it ahead of her. But just goes 50-50 ball up in the air. It looks like Loyola's going to come up with that. Bailey Mathis first to the ball.
First team all Patriot League selection. Mathis on the run. Shielded by Larkin. And a foul call in the mids. I'm sure Cindy Timchel happy with the brand of Navy women's lacrosse here in the first 7 minutes and 50 seconds.
Definitely, it's going to be a long game. You can see right there. I mean, Loyola so dangerous out of transition. Great look to the inside. Hannah Powers absolutely puts that ball away. Shows great poise. Is able to place it around the goalie.
32 seconds all it takes for a response. Powers gets her 5th goal of this Patriot League tournament.
Turns, gets back to her strong hand, and is able to bury that to the goalie's weak side hip, which is nearly an impossible save to make. And so far, I really do like Coach Jen Adams' game plan to push this ball. They're getting some really good looks out of transition, just keeping the ball unsettled.
Skinny Atlas, New York native with her 27th of the year.
It's not too bad. She's had a great sophomore campaign.
And actually, I'm sorry, 45th for Hannah Powers.
Great feed inside, turns, great placement. She does a great job seeing the cage.
So Powers now up to 67 points on the year, 45 goals. And a bunch of assists for her.
Here they go, pushing it down. Oh.
And top shelf.
Earnhardt. You really
out of bounds.
Yeah, taking a nice outside shot with some pace on the move. It looked pretty, unfortunately just didn't land on cage.
And one more look.
Yeah, just dropping her stick, trying to make it a little harder for the goalie to track that. Fortunately misses the cage, and Navy does a great job backing it up and giving their team possession. Again, you see Blake Smith getting involved in the transition as a low defender, carrying the ball over. Super common in the women's game for the defenders to have to do a lot of the work.
Nice dodge by O'Donnell.
Yeah, that was a really good dodge from O'Donnell. Typically we see her in an off-ball role, just really being smart about her cuts, but that was a really good-looking dodge there.
Collins with the flip to Morgan Young. And we get is that going to be a charging call? No, not quite.
Not. Yeah, it's
Not
going to
quite.
go in favor of Morgan Young on this. Still, it looks like Loyola is still trying to find a way to slow down Morgan Young. She's had a great start to the game.
And Young challenging Glenn. And another win for Katie Glenn.
Yeah, Katie Glenn saw that one all the way in. We just went stick side high, which isn't too challenging for a goalie, but under pressure situations in a big time game, you never know.
It's their 4th shot on goal, 6 total shots. Loyola peppering the cage 4 times as well.
And Navy is in their zone defense, which they really gave Lehigh some troubles in the semifinal game.
And we get a 3-second call.
Yeah, and so that 3-second call is going to be on Marie Valenti, and her role in the zone defense is to really kind of float in the middle and to truly be in 3 seconds to try and pick up cutters as they head through the 8 meter. So, beautiful save.
Savage trying to go low, almost parallel to the ground.
William continues to see the ball really, really well early on.
Now, over 10 minutes gone by here in the first half. Matt Martucci, the Army head coach, Kristen Skyra, sideline reporter Morgan Uber, and our entire fantastic crew. Collins cross her body and out of bounds.
It was a great feeding option for Navy. They had really, prior to that point, been looking for a lot of top drives, and so it was great to kind of change things up. Larkin getting involved as a feeder, she has done all year. Jenna Collins just missed the cage, but it was a really good shot.
Well, last year's title game, 12-8 victory for the Greyhounds, who jumped out 2-0.
Julia Collins just muscling her way over the top with pressure on. You can just see the Collins sisters, their physical dominance on that just isn't deterred by one defender. To slow them down, you definitely have to get a second defender there.
So both Collinses have found the board, and Navy enjoying what is now a 2-goal lead. Julia saying, hey, I'm just as good as Jenna. It's the Mids. Early lead here on the Patriot League Network on Campus Insiders. Well, what's a cold May day here at the Ridley Athletic Complex. Navy Mids, the 2 seed, leading the top seed Loyola. Matt Martucci, Kristen Skyra. And Mids getting it done both ends of the field, including in goal.
Yeah, Ingrid Boyum is off to a great start. She's made some high saves, some low saves. Loyola definitely looking to mix it up, but she's been very active and really giving the Navy defensive unit some nice confidence and momentum to start the game.
And Ingrid Boyum, not necessarily known for a high save percentage, 9th in the league this year out of what was the 10 goaltenders. Stopping about 38% of her shots, but coming up a lot bigger today.
Definitely. I mean, if she saved her best performance and best save percentage for last, it's a good thing for them.
Scrum for this draw control.
Hannah Powers getting involved on the draw circle. Great protection. She's absolutely flanked by Navy jerseys and is able to come up with that ball.
4th draw control win for the Greyhounds. Navy winning the shot battle.
You can see Loyola sending a lot of cutters through the 8 meter trying to beat Navy's zone defense. Ball movement, cutters is definitely going to be the key. 2 things that Loyola actually happens to be very good at.
Strengths on both sides offensively. These 2 of the most powerful teams in the league. 2 of the top 3 offenses.
Oh, they were just working a nice little 3-man game. We've definitely seen that before out of this Loyola team, and just tried to do a nice little draw and dump there on the crease. Almost worked. Just a little bit of a dropsy on that pass, but it was a really nice look.
Smith on the trigger. And Sarah Childress back to Boyum. How clean has this been so far? Almost 12 minutes worth of action. That's the first turnover of the game for either team.
It's great. It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch when there's not so many
best,
errors
yeah.
out there. When any error that happens is a forced error just due to really good defense and hustle, it's really fun to watch. The game is very clean and fast-paced.
A lot of turnovers in that second semifinal the other night, but for the most part, other than that, weren't a ton of fouls in either game. Both teams disciplined that way, all 4 teams.
Definitely.
And nice to see. This time we get a foul on the Greyhounds.
Yes.
Amy Abdallah.
And I felt like the refs did let them play a fair bit in the semifinal matchups. You can tell, especially on the defensive end for Loyola, they're getting called on these on-body, just hard pressure, like in terms of their 1v1s. So they may have to make a little bit of an adjustment there.
Larkin on the free pull opportunity. It takes care of it.
Yeah, really good job by Larkin to carry that ball almost all the way into the doorstep and place it.
And how about this?
So you can have another look at it here. Is able to cut off Yanchoris, protect her stick, and finish. Beats the goalie stick side high on that shot. And like I said, a thing about coaching and playing is you just always have to kind of make adjustments according to how the refs are calling the game. And Loyola is definitely a team that prides themselves in really physical 1v1 defense. They've got athletic defenders who can just put a ton of pressure on the ball. So it'd be interesting to see if they have to make any adjustments to keep Navy off of the 8-meter.
Larkin now the 4th different Navy player to find the net. 39th of the year for the Bishop Ireton product.
Yeah, and I don't think many of us coaches in the league are excited that she has 3 more years. And she's a lefty and a great feeder. She's got so many upsides to her.
It's what I always appreciate about you is your honesty, for sure.
We have an acute awareness of the age of these players. Because you just have to count down until you graduate.
Right.
The countdown is on until the Collins graduate. It started as soon as
you'll send them a card, I bet.
Yeah, definitely. See, best of luck.
Whiteford from the left hash and denied. Good
Yeah.
deflection that time. Valenti in the fray.
Yeah, the ball didn't even make it through the Navy defenders. Didn't even get to the goalie. Yeah, great extension by Maria Valenti to get a piece of that shot.
Need to remember that when you're playing against the Greyhounds, it's not so much about the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean they're such a dangerous team. I mean they can, a few goals is nothing in their book. They'll be able to fight back and make this a competitive game for 60 minutes.
Just so much offense. And we talked about the first meeting they had against BU a lot in the semifinals. They were down 5 at the break and they ended up coming out like crazy in the second half, reclaimed the lead like it was nothing.
Yeah, and if they just show a little bit more discipline on these top Dodgers, if they're able to land a good legal double team to the ball, their defense should be fine. But there she is.
O'Donnell off the world. And the feed from Collins. Navy by 4.
O'Donnell is so good at coming around the crease and really getting her defender pinned on one side and cutting around the other side of the crease. We'll get another look of that, but she reads her defense so well. Very similar to the look she had on Friday night, wide open on the doorstep, which is a great place to be as an attacker. So you see her defender commits on the right side of the crease. She rolls around the left side and just places that ball beautifully underneath that top pipe.
Meg O'Donnell making a case for Patriot League Tournament MVP honors if the Mids end up on top of this one.
Definitely. And
5th goal of the tournament.
Yeah, it's really impressive. She's just a really smart player and has come up big, really, for them this tournament.
Basso and Collins. Another game where we've seen the draw control circle not necessarily indicate the score. 5-1 now in favor of the Greyhounds. But only 1 of 7 in terms of shooting the ball. Loyola and Navy 5 for 10.
Yep, the goaltending's making a big difference for Navy right now. Marie Valenti coming up with a big draw control. Looks like she'll maybe have a look to cage. Oh, just hangs her stick a little bit there. Loyola defender coming up with a really good back check, but looks like we have one of the Loyola players down.
And that's Geiger, it looks like. Yeah, Katrina Geiger, senior from Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania, who only ended up playing just a game last year before missing the rest of the year with an injury. Missed 10 games in 2015.
We'll get another look at that. A great check, a great trail check by Bailey Mathis. And 2-3 Loyola defenders are there to corral the ball. But unfortunately, Geiger is still down on the ground. Looks like it may be pointing to a knee, initially grabbing her knee on that when she went to the ground.
16:06 to go in the first half, and something you never want to see. Katrina Geiger, one of the leaders on this team, plays a really good brand of two-way lacrosse. He's a scoring option, and then at the other end, very good at forcing turnovers. Can hit the draw control circle. She does a little bit of everything, kind of the Greyhound Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, hopefully she returns to the game, but if she's out for the game, it's definitely going to be a little bit of a bummer for Loyola, but they do have a lot of depth and the ability to have some people come off the bench and make an impact in her absence. Yeah, unfortunately it looks like it may be a knee injury.
Yeah, not wanting to put any weight on it. Absolutely hate to see that.
Yeah, that's tough, especially if you have a history of injuries. You know how hard it is to work your way back and get back to an even playing field physically as everybody else. So I think there's a lot of mental toughness involved in coming back from injury, but certainly you know what's ahead of you if you get re-injured. I think that's really tough.
Navy's balance so far, winning out. 5 different players, each with a goal. It's showing us exactly why they had the best scoring offense in the league this year, 15.4 goals a game.
Have a little bit of an opportunity to push some tempo here.
Smith, anticipation, and the near interception.
Yeah, Blake Smith broke that fast break opportunity up. She was totally read that pass inside to Cammie Whiteford and was able to pick it off.
So now Greyhounds give it away for what is just the second time.
Looks like the Navy defense ate their Wheaties this morning at the team hotel. I know we were joking that some people may not know what Wheaties are anymore, but Navy's defense playing really well in this first quarter of the game.
Yeah, but you know what? You might teach someone somewhere something there. So that's okay.
Yeah, with so many good cereals out there, no one's eating Wheaties these days.
Somebody watching at home might Google, Wheaties or a Wheaties box. That used to be the name of the game. As O'Donnell trying to back it down. Mathis with a good defensive play, and Gwynn having to come up with the ground ball.
And that time, some really tough physical 1v1 defense ends up paying off for Loyola as Bailey Mathis is able to dislodge that ball, and Loyola recovers at 50-50.
Tabasso.
Good hustle by the Navy
Good
attackers to redefend.
Good ride that time by both Julia Collins and O'Donnell.
So Loyola looking to get into a settled situation here, play some 7v7 settled offense, which we haven't seen too much of from them so far this half.
Savage from Tabasso.
Wide open cut.
Nice setup to the front of cage. Camely, who has been honestly non-existent so far in the first half of this opening half of play.
Yeah, that was definitely the right idea. They swung the ball to X, sent one or two cutters through. One of the cutters ended up being wide open, but I believe it was Marie Valenti who had the Navy defense has seriously active sticks. A lot of knockdowns. You see Marie Valenti earlier in this possession with a knockdown, and you see Blake Smith get her stick on that pass. You can never underestimate, the power of your stick and what reach can do, and staying with the play and reading the attacker's eyes.
Earhart off the restart. Clark shut off. Jenna Collins, another deflection.
Another deflection by the Navy defense. Outstanding.
Third Loyola turnover. Mentioned the efficiency on the clear.
Definitely.
Smith having no problem. McLaughlin.
Yeah, all the defenders out here have great stick work, ability to run the ball, great athleticism. It's fun to watch. When getting the ball over to your offense is like a little bit of a no-brainer.
Julia Collins.
Just working the ball around a little bit, being nice and patient.
O'Donnell coming from behind the cage.
A little bit of an ISO here for Julia.
And a nice move, wide right, and O'Donnell applaud the hustle, getting the backup.
Yeah, that was a great little hitch move over the top there. She definitely had her hands free and had a really nice look at the cage and a great angle, just missed.
Shot clock winding down to the final 20 seconds. Andy O'Sullivan.
A little pick on ball to try and get Jenna Collins open for a drive. We're going to get the ball to Morgan Young and see what she can do.
Young wants that speed across the body, but Glynn there. And just like that, the one-person clear. Tabasso up ahead to Mathis.
Yep, they got that ball up the field very quickly.
Bailey Mathis shot down there like a howitzer.
Uh-oh. Just a little casual pass there on the perimeter from Tabasso to Whiteford, and broken up by these Navy defenders that are all over the place in a good way.
End to end for Smith. Coming toward the 11-minute mark with Hubli. If you're just tuning in, 5 different mids that produced the 5 goals. Each of the Collins sisters. Morgan Young, the Patriot League Rookie of the Year, Kelly Larkin, and the hero from the other night, Meg O'Donnell.
See good defense on Kelly Larkin by Amy Abdullah.
Collins and O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan, good run, and wide left. They'll keep the possession with 34 on the shot clock.
Yeah, she got a great look at the cage, was able to get underneath, protect her stick, and just missed.
Larkin flirting with the crease. And Glynn, a nice athletic play to run it down.
Yeah, great physical crease defense on Larkin. She tried to get underneath there and was just forced into the crease, and Louisville was able to come up with 50-50.
Foul called on the mids.
In these last possessions, you can see some of the strengths of the Navy offense as they, everybody out there is confident taking the ball to the cage, making contributions, which I think is going to be really important for them in this game. They had just 4 scorers in their semifinal game, so to get everybody involved, especially early on the offensive end, is a big thing for Navy.
Honestly, Kristen, the way that last sequence went, Greyhounds fortunate to be coming out of this with the ball.
Definitely. And here you go, you see Tabasso pushing.
And the anticipation for Boyum. How about the play both ends from the goaltenders? Jenna Collins through traffic for the mids.
Yeah, Navy defense playing with a lot of confidence. I don't know if it stems from, how great their zone defense was against Lehigh in the final moments of the Lehigh game, semifinal game, but they are playing with their hair on fire today.
No piece of real estate going for unaccounted there. Jen Adams not thrilled with this call.
Yeah, Coach Adams
You can see
definitely
the
not
body
thrilled.
language. Trying to say Morgan Young.
Yeah.
Undercut, well, and I think she might have a case there.
Yeah, that was a tough one. A lot of the time, though, I know the foul calls are going to go in favor of the smaller. This is coming from a 6-foot-tall player, but a lot of the foul calls are going to go to the smaller player. It's just the way it is.
Excellent feed and the score for Harris.
Yeah, great ball movement. Morgan Young with her head up, able to find her teammate wide open inside the 8-meter.
Well, 8:59 to go here in the first half. It's a 5-goal lead for the Mids. How about this? Navy, the 2 seed, thinking about an upset as Collins and company certainly spreading it around. Harris, the 6 different mid to score on the Patriot League Network on Campus Insiders. Now 8:59 to go in the first half. 5-goal lead for Navy. Tough one so far for Loyola, and the Greyhounds even a little bit banged up. Down to the sideline, Morgan Uber.
Matt, Kristen, I do have the latest on Katrina Geiger. They just took her off the field. She was with Loyola's head trainer getting all taped up. They cleaned up her knee, had some scratches on it, and then they brought out the crutches and a bag of ice on that knee, took her back, and she did tell the trainer she felt something buckle, but right now, that's all we know.
Thank you, Morgan. Inside 9 minutes to go. And tough blow for Jen Adams, who's, I think, still not thrilled about the way that this game has been officiated from time to time.
Yeah, Loyola's going to need to make some adjustments, but their midfield seems to be a little depleted with Van Thoff, out due to sickness, and now you have Geiger outside of the lineup, so they're going to need some other players to step up for them.
Another draw win. Young like a bullet, but Glenn with a big save, 1v1.
Glenn being one of the players that's definitely stepping up for them right now and making some good saves.
Last time around, it was March 18th, career high 18. Most for the Loyola program since the early 2000s.
See, Loyola's still pushing it. Pays off. It's Frankie Camely, who's definitely one of the most explosive players out of offensive transition. Takes it right down the center of the 8-meter. And it's a well-placed shot.
So there's Camely.
Great dodge, great stick work. Keeping her stick away from the defender. Sees that, hey, nobody's going to double team me, so I'm just going to keep taking it right to the cage. You can tell that Loyola, even being down, prior to that goal, being down 5 goals, I mean, that's a good risk. You can tell that they're still confident, that they still feel like, they're in the game, which they completely are. But that's a really good risk to take, and Camely confident as she went to the cage.
First goal in what is almost 14 minutes worth of action for the Greyhounds. 13:36. The scoring drought for Jen Adams Ball Club.
Yeah, and obviously the Mids have to be super excited with how they've started this game. But, Coach Tim Shaw, the coaches and players on the sideline, they know it's a long game, and there's still a lot of lacrosse to be played.
Smith lost it in the fray. And will award it back to Navy.
Sarah Childress with a good run. Oh, she just steps out of bounds. Really good redefend by Mathis and Powers.
Oh, this is where you wonder. You get the 1 goal for the Greyhounds. Is this a time that maybe things start to open up? And little plays like this can give you, if you're looking at it from a Navy perspective, maybe some unnecessary momentum.
Definitely, but then you're going to see actually the refs are going to rule it as an illegal quick start, and the ball is actually going to go back into Navy's hands here. And so I believe what happened was the ball may have gone out of bounds, Loyola brought the ball back in bounds, and anytime the ball goes out of bounds, and you cannot bring it back in bounds and immediately quick start, if that makes sense. So in which Loyola did. They brought it in bounds, they quick started, so that's going to be a turnover. Both, I would say this is the first year where we've implemented, well, second year, I guess, technically, of the quick start, but there are still some finer points of that new rule change that teams are still working out in the heat of the moment in the game. You're not always thinking, is this allowable or not? So.
Sullivan with 7:15 in the first half. Larkin, good defense from Abdullah.
You see Julia Collins working it up top, really working her defender hard. Could get the ball to her sister and over to Morgan Young.
Young looking for the cutter. It's Collins, had a look on the doorstep.
Yeah, that was a great look. Loyola sent that first slide, but second slide wasn't there to recover to Collins in the middle.
New shot clock, though, for the mids.
Yeah, that's huge. Just under 75 seconds. Have a lot of time to really work it.
Collins, the face dodge and the kick save by Glenn.
And another shot clock reset for the midshipmen. Great job coming up with that 50-50 ball to maintain possession. They've already had 2 shots, 2 good looks at cage during this possession, so it's been a great possession for them so far.
Harris circling back from X. Game of catch for Jenna and Julia Collins. 6 minutes to go here in the first half. Balance for Navy and limiting Loyola so far to just 7 total shots, only 5 on the cage.
They're going to send a quick double to Morgan Young. Oh, and they cause a turnover on that.
Glenn able to set up the clear.
And Tabasso doing her thing that you see her do all the time, running the ball upfield, getting their offense started.
Jokingly call it the punt return clear.
Yeah.
Catch and go. The freshman Lloyd with the setup to Camelly.
Loyola going to get set into their zone offense. It looks like they're going to split a defender. That's just textbook offense right there. They stack 2 on the elbow with 1 defender over there. They split. 1 goes inside, 1 holds, and they were able to get a shooting space call. Outside shot again deflected by a Navy defender. That was Andy O'Sullivan who got her stick on that.
It's coming from Earhart. Watch 45 for the Greyhounds. Holly Lloyd off the bench to potentially provide a lift.
Another shooting space call. You can tell Loyola is picking apart that elbow a little bit. There's only just 1 Navy defender over there holding down that elbow, so when they stack it, ball gets to an adjacent offensive player. In this case, it was Tabasso. They look to split it.
Camelly from that left hash. And again, gets the block. Boyum is ready to go.
Yeah, what a difference. 2 nights sleep has made for Boyum.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Yeah, she's been amazing tonight, or today. You see McLaughlin doing some of the heavy lifting, getting that ball over as a low defender for Navy.
7 on 7. Julia Collins, Jenna Collins, O'Sullivan, Kayla Harris, Morgan Young, O'Donnell, and Larkin. Matched up with Abdullah.
Yeah, so far Loyola doing a really good job on Larkin and kind of muting some of her strengths out there.
Nice cut for Young off of the roll dodge, lost the handle, might have gotten it deflected.
Yeah, great check by Filippelli. Good recognition to crash quickly inside the 8-meter and get that check off.
And O'Sullivan draws the foul on the Greyhounds.
Yeah, they're going to call Filippelli for shooting space. Same call we've seen at the other end of the field a few times.
O'Sullivan with the bouncer after shielding herself. Another backup, but winding down on the shot clock, down to 20.
Another look at that shot, just missed the cage. Actually, so they're gonna say that that hit off the goalkeeper, so they're gonna get a fresh 90-second shot clock.
That certainly helps when you have a 4-goal lead already.
Oh, definitely. Anytime Navy can get where the ball is not in Loyola's hand is good time. Where they can really work down some of these middies, some of these defenders.
Harris inside of 8. Call of the Greyhounds again.
Yeah, that's going to be a 3 seconds call on one of the off-ball defenders. I believe it's going to be another foul on Filippelli. So you see Harris does have Morgan Young to her left side. They've got a 3v2 on the left side of the field. See if they look to take advantage.
And miscommunication. Turnover looking for Young.
Yeah, well, case of the good idea, bad execution. Almost there. So this isn't an unfamiliar sight. You see Bailey Mathis, a strong low defender, starting the offense. Ball back in the hands of Tabasso.
In opening 17 or 27 and a half minutes, where Navy has dominated the shots.
Boyum picking off that pass from high to X. She's been reading that all afternoon so far. That's her second time stepping out of the cage and taking away that pass.
Hughley to Valenti, over to Jenna Collins. Had O'Sullivan briefly.
Yeah, and so Navy's going to have the opportunity to have another long possession here as the clock winds down on the first half.
2 minutes remaining.
So they're getting set. See Morgan Young talking to Andy O'Sullivan.
Shot clock more than halfway gone.
Getting into a set piece. We've got Julia Collins, Morgan Young, and Andy O'Sullivan behind the cage. Working some cutters. They just sent Larkin off of a lefty cut.
Julia Collins trying to set somebody up. Collins, excellent feed, and the turn for O'Donnell.
I mean, she does it every time. She is so consistent. As soon as her defender looks at the ball, O'Donnell shoots backdoor like clockwork. You see her defender debate going up to double team Jenna Collins high on that drive, and she just shoots backdoor, again turning back to her right hand. She does a good job of just getting back to her strong hand to a place where she wants to shoot from.
Jenna Collins, her second.
So that highlight reel for Meg O'Donnell is becoming pretty significant, and you're starting to see a lot of the same trends for her as one of the best off-ball players out there on the field. And so, oh, yep, beautiful. Just stack that left edge pie area down there, and defenders have to make a choice. Are you going to let Jenna Collins work with the ball up top, or you have to send her a double team? And the answer is most likely you need to send a double to her.
And I don't know if you noticed, Filippelli ended up getting caught down there, had to just get out of the way for the Greyhounds.
Yeah,
didn't want to get hit in the back of the head.
Definitely a good poise by Meg O'Donnell to shoot around her. Otherwise, she would have hit her. She would have had a yellow card and had to sit out. And you see a yellow card being awarded right now to a Loyola player.
That's Emily Clark.
So Navy going to be able to close out this half man up.
And then start the second half man up. That's something.
Definitely.
O'Sullivan on the run, just split a couple of Greyhounds.
Coach Timshaw going to call a timeout. Get organized here. She really wants one more
Timeout, Navy.
before this half is up.
48 seconds to play, all mids.
Fans, it's time to get loud. It's
What
t-shirt
were
time.
a pair of
Be on the
dominating
lookout for
performances the
live
last
t-shirts.
couple of years for the Greyhounds. You know, this has happened before. It happened a couple seasons ago where, you know, Navy did play well coming out, and Loyola ended up, though, dominating the rest of the game. Not the case, though, here this afternoon. Mids have come out like a team that has been unable to get over the hump the last few years in the Patriot League Championship.
Definitely, this is a dream scenario in terms of how to start a game for Navy, and to have their defense playing so well, to have their goalie playing so well, to be, you know, everybody on the offensive end has really got involved. I think it's an absolute dream scenario, and I think this is where, you know, playing some really top ACC teams, you know, some strong out-of-conference teams, and it's going to help them in terms of being able to kind of gut out this 60-minute effort against another top 20 team in Loyola. You'd think that experience for Navy is going to really come in handy, especially in the second half.
Two teams that challenged themselves. Jen Adams and the Greyhounds started their schedule. A bunch of ranked opponents right off the bat. Hopkins, Towson, Princeton, Florida, Virginia.
Yep, and it's been great. You know, I think it's really important. I think as the Patriot League continues to grow as a conference in terms of our you know, level of competition, I think it's, we, as a fellow Patriot League coach, you like to see other Patriot League teams pushing the envelope and potentially beating, you know, top 10, top 20 teams on a consistent basis. Definitely increases our ability to each year try and send more than one team to the NCAA tournament, and for us to be able to get an at-large bid in addition to the automatic qualifier would be a really big next step for our conference.
Greyhounds a year ago, first round loss to the eventual national champion in North Carolina, down at Chapel Hill.
It's a tough first draw to open the tournament against the #1 seed.
Now down to the final 20 seconds or so.
Some good ball movement.
O'Donnell down low, Young. 10 seconds. Andy O'Sullivan. Julia Collins, 5 seconds. Off the deflection. Larkin got it to the front to O'Donnell, and they got one off, but off the pipe and out of bounds. And that's how this opening half of play will end. An impressive 30 minutes for the Navy Mids. A pair of goals for their hero in game #1, the semifinals, Meg O'Donnell. And Navy will go into the break with what is a 5-goal cushion here.
You want me to look at you? We'll come.
And Cindy Timchel obviously has to be happy about the way this has gone, but let's check in with Coach Morgan Uber standing with her.
Coach, a lot to like about this first half, but your zone defense has been extremely effective, and not to mention your goalie, Ingrid Boehm. How do you keep that effectiveness up in the second half?
Well, yeah, you know, we've been playing tough D and executing on offense. We realize there's, you know, big half coming up. It's a tough opponent, and we'll just keep plugging away and playing tough for the remainder of the game in the second half.
It's been a real distribution on your offense for scoring. What have you really liked out of your offense today?
You know, just discipline, and this is things that we still have to fix in the second half. But yeah, the discipline and playing together as a unit.
All right, thanks so much,
Thank you.
Matt?
Thank you, Morgan. Yes, Cindy Timchel. Few words, but likes what's going on here in the first 30 minutes. And why wouldn't she? Navy by 5. We'll have stats and highlights coming up at the half. It's the Mids, the Greyhounds, for a trip to the NCAA tournament, halfway there on the Patriot League Network on Campus Insiders.
Well, Coach, you have been in this position before down at halftime. What was the message to your team and the overall atmosphere in the locker room?
It's just we got to do everything better. I think the halftime was a nice clean the slate, start again in this game. Navy's playing great defense, really locking things down, but our decision-making's been poor, so just step it up everywhere.
Does your game plan change at all, being down, you know, 2 of your best midfielders?
No, just one at a time. You know, it's time to fill the gaps and play for extra season. So I'm sure with all that on the line, we're ready to go this half.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks.
Thank you, Morgan. Biggest takeaway, other than Loyola needs to put together a much more sound 30 minutes. Is I think you said it the other night, everything is cooler with an Australian accent.
I know, it's so not fair. So not fair.
Like first recruiting trip for somebody coming in, it's probably very easy to sell them on. I want to play for her.
I know. But she's got the right approach and mentality. You know, Jen, one of the great things about Coach Adams is she's always so positive, really like inspirational to her players, gets them motivated when they need to be motivated. And I think certainly if they can do a little bit better job with their decision making, like she said, taking care of the ball, maybe not telegraphing so many of their passes on the offensive end, they'll have some more success in the second half.
Big draw control win for the Mids to start.
Yep, Julia Collins, of course, coming up with the first draw control for Navy of this half. She's their team leader in draw controls.
Now it becomes a 30-minute marathon to try and find their way to the title.
Yeah, the clock is going to seem to go by very slowly for Coach Timschel at this point, and we all know the feeling.
Still man up for another 20 seconds for Navy. Larkin, cross zone pass, O'Donnell. Down to 15 seconds. Larkin with a nice move. And they get the call on the Greyhounds.
Yeah, and that's just going to be a hold on Kristen Yanchoris for the Loyola defender. Just didn't get that check quick enough. So Jenna Collins again, who's one of the top threats from the 8 meters, going to have a nice look here. She is low. Larkin nice and low.
And scores. The Rookie of the Year, Kelly Larkin from Collins.
Yeah, great for Kelly Larkin to get on the board here early in the second half. I believe that's her first goal of the game, so good momentum for her. She does a great job, catches, fakes high, shoots low, textbook in terms of what you learn to do in terms of finishing on the crease. Baits a goalie high and puts it between her legs.
Largest lead of the day now for the Mids.
Number 7, Kelly Larkin, her second. The assist, number 44.
And I'm sorry, that was actually her second goal of the game, so she did get on the board in the first half.
Yeah, had the one to make it 4-1 at the almost halfway point of the first half.
And she plays with a lot of poise for a freshman. You could see that she didn't rush that shot. She game in and out. She gets hounded by the other team's top defensive players behind the cage, you know, in an effort to get the ball out of her stick so she can't break down defenses as a feeder. And she's done a great job of maintaining her level of play for a freshman throughout the entire season.
Well, congrats for having only another 3 years to have to scout her.
Appreciate it, Matt. Appreciate it. You can see Tabasso, the way the ball is set, Tabasso definitely looked like she had a little bit of an advantage there getting underneath of it. So they're going to reset it. And draw players at any time do have the ability to request a reset from the referees if they feel like the ball is unfairly placed advantageously in one stick or the other.
Melee at midfield.
Complete scrum at midfield. How many players would you say? It's like a 5th grade soccer match.
Yeah,
everybody
pretty much.
Just following the ball around.
Everybody running after the ball, that's
Probably
right.
At least 12, 13, 14 players involved in that scrum.
O'Donnell, who seems to have a nose for the ball these last 2 games. Larkin, nice feed. Collins goes 5-hole. Navy with a new largest lead.
And that's the exact same play we just saw the possession before. Larkin curling around the crease with lefty up, and Jenna Collins just using sheer strength to muscle her way and get her hands free inside the 8 meter. Does a great job, you know, catching that pass, a lot of pressure on, getting her hips turned down to the cage. I mean, that's great shooting form. As soon as she caught the ball, instead of trailing off to a low angle and carrying her momentum to the right, she completely squared her hips to the cage, was able to get a lot of power on that shot. She does a lot of little things right that not many people notice. Why she is such a good shooter. I mean, to be able to change your momentum and get it going back towards the cage at game speed is a tough thing. Here you're gonna have another look at it. Really hard to also track that release on her shot. It was kind of hidden from the goalie. I don't know if it was a false start or a foul, but the ball's gonna go in Loyola's favor on this draw.
Only taking 30 seconds for the mids to get the response to the Larkin goal. They put them up 8-2. Collins made it 9-2 at 28-42. Larkins was 29-12.
Yep, and Navy's still doing a great job in their zone. They're just moving really quick. So they may temporarily leave a cutter open in the middle, but it's not long enough to be able to feed it inside. Really just really good slides, shifting really well as a unit. And they're going to come up with this ground ball. It looks like McLaughlin vying for the ball.
Camely with an unforced turnover, foul on Earhart.
Yeah, it continues. The good play continues for Navy.
Already matched their total in terms of scoring from the entire semifinal.
That is true.
Sometimes that's what happens. You need one of those games to get it out of your system. It ends up serving as maybe a shot in the arm, and it certainly has today. The fact that they were fortunate to win the other night.
Definitely, and that's one of the great things about sports is every day is a new day and an opportunity to play even better than your last performance. And Navy certainly has been leaps and bounds more dynamic than they were in their semifinal game.
That's why a lot of us chose to work in them. No day is ever the same.
Nope. We always tell that to our players. You know, if we're going up against a team and we're definitely the underdog, you know, it's like, well, we play the game for a reason. You never know what's going to happen. If we knew who was going to win the game prior to the game, we wouldn't even play it. Great poke check, some good pressure behind the cage.
Larkin and co. enjoying what is the 7-goal cushion. Julia Collins having a tough time with that one.
Yeah, and that'll be an empty stick check. Jenna Collins just got a little too excited on that and checked Janchoris' stick before she had possession of the ball. Loyola, that was a good defensive possession for Loyola. The clock was winding down. I know viewers at home couldn't see the clock, but it was getting to under 10 seconds on the shot clock.
Powers, who we haven't heard from much today, but then again, haven't really heard from much of the Loyola offense, period. 7 shots on goal and 10 total.
Just an error. You can tell Loyola may be playing a little tighter than they're used to just because things really aren't going their way offensively. You see a really uncharacteristic turnover from Hannah Powers.
Ninth time that the Greyhounds have given it away. What a day for Boyum. 5 saves, stopping 71% of her shots today.
Definitely one of her better performances on the year. And O'Donnell there to pick up that pass.
Yeah, what ends up being a fortuitous carom into the stick of O'Donnell.
Yeah.
O'Sullivan, Collins, and Collins.
Navy's going to have
around that perimeter.
Yeah, and they'll have about 50 seconds to work right now against Loyola's defense.
And O'Sullivan draws the call.
And this is going to be a really good scoring opportunity for O'Sullivan from the center hash. Oh, good recovery by Janchoris. Really quick recovery inside.
Collins gets Larkin circling to the middle of the zone.
Just under 30 seconds on the shot clock now.
Two shots, 2 goals for the mids.
See a 2-man game with the Twins right now.
Collins, nice feed to O'Sullivan. Shot clock winding down though.
Yeah, and they're gonna only have less
Larkin.
than a few seconds.
And they won't get anything off.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if they were all clued in how much time was left. Typically, you know, when a team doesn't have the ball in a scoring position or even close to the 12-meter with the clock ticking down, they're gonna roll it to like the corner of the field.
Well, I said it the last time, if were to divide this into a pie and make 5 different 6-minute wedges here in the second half, first wedge goes to the mids.
Definitely, and they're doing a great job of carrying that first half momentum into the second half, not taking anything for granted.
Tabasso cross zone, Camely responsible for one of the 2 goals today for the Greyhounds. Just she and Powers, that's it. And nice setup. After 15 minutes worth of drought, Greyhounds are back on the board thanks to Whiteford.
Yeah, and we'll get another look at that, but looked like Loyola just was able to send through a few cutters. First cutter went through, Camely goes through, takes the defender, Navy defender. Whiteford is able to cut behind her, catch that, and just an easy place shot. Good teamwork to be able to create that scoring opportunity for Loyola.
Well, sometimes we've seen this happen before. You wonder, is this the time when the floodgates maybe start to open for this offense? One goal can sometimes do it.
Yeah, and I think Loyola fans, probably the Loyola sideline, even us, I think we're waiting for that floodgate to kind of open for Loyola, and really for everyone to see what they really truly are capable of.
15 minutes, 3 seconds between goals, and what for the Greyhounds, their lowest offensive total since the first half against what was the Florida Gators. And that was the first 6 games of the season.
Yeah, and obviously a credit to Navy's defense. They're really causing a lot of havoc down there on the defensive end by moving so quickly, you know, having active sticks, and also having your goalkeeper play one of her better games of her career. See a lot of pressure on the ball here. Mathis with a ton of pressure on Jenna Collins. Jenna Collins is able to draw the foul. But Loyola definitely hungry to get that ball back. You see McLaughlin carry with confidence into the offensive end.
Three different players, 2 goals apiece. O'Donnell, Larkin, Jenna Collins, combining for what is 6 of the 9 today for the mids. And Young, Collins, and Harris, the other 3.
And Navy with 3 of their top Dodgers up top. You've got O'Sullivan and Jenna and Julie Collins working this 3-man game high. Just catering towards their right hands right now. Look to swing the ball low.
Fun matchup between one of the best offensive players in the league, the midfielder of the year, Jenna Collins, and first team all-defensive selection, Bailey Mathis.
Yeah, and it looks like both Earhart and Mathis have kind of shared the load in terms of guarding some of these really tough Dodgers for Navy.
Yeah, probably the best way to do it, right? To divvy it up so you keep everybody as fresh as possible. Larkin and Harris, and a foul on the Greyhounds again.
Yeah, just Ian Torres gets called for a foul there, maybe just being a tad too aggressive on the ball. But 2 seconds left on the shot clock, so look for Larkin to just step and shoot.
Larkin taking too much time. And that's the second shot clock violation that they've had here in this second half.
Great hustle by Harris to get to Tabasso. I mean, it looks like Tabasso really hasn't come off the field much this afternoon at all. So it'll be interesting to see if she can keep up her presence between the 30s.
Powers, and thought that maybe was going to draw something.
Definitely, she was looking for a foul on that for sure. Did a really good job getting that shot off under a lot of pressure. Looks like Hannah Powers looking for some feeding options, and that was just a really tough pass to Whiteford, maybe a little forced, and it fortunately came really early in the possession. Loyola not able to really work the defense as much as they probably wanted on that possession.
Senior captain Hubley, yeah.
Yep, just Navy defenders taking turns, getting the job done, and safely delivering that ball to their offense.
O'Donnell from that X spot. Back-to-back 9-goal games for the Mids after what was an eruption for a school record 24 against Lafayette.
Good defense by Tabasso and Andy O'Sullivan.
Roll dodge for Jenna Collins, and getting to the middle.
And that's why she's so good, so poised with the ball. Just to watch her handle all of that pressure, continue digging towards a high percentage shot in the middle of the 8 meter. It's super, super impressive. She just continues to be such a powerful physical player. And here's another look. Doesn't settle for that lefty alley.
The hat trick for Collins, and Navy all smiles. The Mids up by 7, trying to drive toward a title. 19:58 to go in the second half. 7-goal lead for the Navy Mids. And for more on a pair of the players that have had a big hand in this, get out of the sideline, Morgan Uber.
Parents were always telling Julia and Jenna Collins that they didn't have to go to the same place. They actually explored options of going to different schools, but that's not what the two of them wanted. They'll be the first to tell you. Navy head coach Cindy Timschel said recruiting the two of them was a dream. They're fierce competitors, always looking for ways to improve their game. And the two of them are close to home also, going to River Hill High School, so you can bet their family is watching them in the stands here today. Matt.
Thanks, Morgan. Yeah, if this is indeed a dream for Cindy Timschel, I don't think Coach wants to wake up this afternoon.
I know. She's getting closer, but against such a dangerous, dynamic team like Loyola, you can never count them out, that's for sure.
Collins and Tabasso.
And they're going to reset that draw, just didn't get above the drawler's shoulders. So you're going to have another chance at this one.
This has been a battle all day, mostly won by Tabasso, but it hasn't seemed to really make a difference. Navy's done a really good job once Loyola has in fact had the ball in the Mids attack zone.
Yep, Julia Collins really fending off about 4 white jerseys there to come up with that ball and get fouled. Navy defenders handling the ball confidently, and they get it to one of their midfielders, O'Sullivan, to get the ball over.
More than a third of the way gone here in this second half. What is Selection Sunday? NCAA Women's Lacrosse. One of these two teams will be part of it.
So you see a little extended pressure on ball there by Jan Chors. Looks like Loyola has gone into their backer zone. So you can see their defender number 10, Taylor O'Connell, will be following the ball, kind of shadowing the ball. She actually gets called for 3 seconds, as she was not marked up on a Navy player inside the 8 meter.
12 meters for Young. Shut off by Jan Chors on the slide.
And so you'll see heightened pressure on ball, and Loyola's backer defense, really they go all out. Really there's no consequence in terms of getting beat, because you do have that defender, number 10, backing the ball to be there to double team the ball. So in terms of Loyola's looking to get the ball back, play a little bit more aggressively, this is definitely a good approach for them. As you can see right there, Filippelli just a little too aggressive on the ball. But definitely this is more of a takeaway defense than just a pure man-to-man.
Mathis really trying to force Collins, that's Jenna Collins, into a turnover.
Yeah, and the shot clock is actually ticking down. Almost 10 seconds are off of the clock just on that foul. Referee's not doing a good job. When that foul occurred, there were over 20 seconds on the shot clock. Now they're at 8. There's going to be a big hurry. Wide open.
And the fake and the goal for Julia Collins.
Yeah, and the best way to beat this zone is to keep the ball moving. They do a great job there. Switching fields and then immediately sending the ball back to the opposite side. They find Julia Collins inside. So Andy O'Sullivan to Larkin. Larkin all the way across the 8-meter to a wide open Julia Collins. Great fake and finish. You see some really poised shooters out here. It's really fun lacrosse to watch.
Well, and like Schwarzenegger and DeVito, the twins go back-to-back. 1958 for Jenna's goal. Julia follows up at 18-19.
Yeah, they're pretty good players. They can do some damage out there on the field together.
Well, it said the sibling rivalry was very heated growing up. Hair pulling, pushing, shoving, name calling. They were all fair game, except when they would go up against their 2 older sisters, Nina and Sue Collins. That's when they would team up.
That's funny. Good draw control by Powers for Loyola. See what they can do with it here. They're going to have to work really efficiently to chip away at this lead.
Earhart with the middle of the zone feed. This is almost one of those situations. Yes, you do have more than half of this second half left, but it's almost a be quick but don't hurry type of situation. You want to try and get goals, but I guess you don't want to take too much time doing it.
Yeah, no, definitely. It is a little bit of a tough situation, especially when goals have not come easy in the game. Navy's defense just seemingly everywhere.
And that zone, which gave Lehigh all kinds of problems late in the second half the other night. And forces a turnover here.
Yeah, just things really not going Loyola's way, unfortunately. Relatively unforced turnover in that possession. Oh, it's followed up by a pass, but it looks like Morgan Young is going to beat any Loyola players to the ball.
Almost at the midway point of the second half, the Army head coach Kristen Skyra, Matt Martucci, sideline reporter Morgan Uber, and what has been a great crew over the course of this weekend here at the Ridley Athletic Complex in Baltimore.
And Navy getting a new sub in on the field. You have Mackenzie Orr, number 55, who's a new face off the bench for them in this game. Midfielder from Berwyn, Pennsylvania.
Cindy Timchel, by the way, seeking career win number 488.
Not too shabby.
No, not at all. The NCAA's all-time wins leader, women's lacrosse.
Loyola back in their man-to-man defense. Navy pretty confident just to take some time off the clock here, not really forcing anything. They'll start to push it a little bit harder with under 20 seconds on the clock now.
And Collins ends up drawing the foul.
Well, they're actually going to call an off-ball foul. They're going to call a block on Larkin, who, as Collins was carrying the ball, looks like she maybe set a little bit of an illegal pick on Bailey Mathis.
Dangerous going back to Glynn that way, and O'Donnell trying to cause the turnover.
Yeah, good news for Navy on that possession was they did take over a minute off of the clock, so every minute matters. And Loyola's going to have another shot at beating this really impressive zone defense.
Clark, who had a goal the other night. And Powers from where she's most comfortable, that X spot.
Yeah, she can sit back there and pick away, and there she finds Whiteford open with her strong hand up. A great finish.
First goal for the Greyhounds in what is over 8 minutes. And the last one actually came from Whiteford as well. After the Collins twins each get one.
That's Powers just existing in her happy place back there, you know, not guarded by any defenders, without pressure, able to find a wide open teammate. So they'll go back to the draw. It looks like Loyola is going to be trying out a new drawer against Navy's Jenna Collins. Looks like we have Lindsay Gamer stepping into the draw safe circle and taking this draw. And some bodies flying. Looks like there's a little bit of a collision.
And Bailey Mathis said both Powers going down in a heap.
Both back up, which is good. And Navy's going to come up with that ball. It was Meg O'Donnell who ultimately was able to get it into her stick.
You can feel the anticipation building for the mids out of Annapolis.
Definitely, and plenty of time to work with here. Again, we spoke about this a little bit in the semifinal matches on Friday, but it's a fine line between, you know, taking the air out of the ball and really working the clock here, but also staying aggressive. You don't want to get yourself into a place where, as an offensive unit, Navy becomes complacent and, you know, they take their foot off of the gas pedal. It's a really fine line, and definitely I think Cindy Timshall is a very offensive-minded, aggressive coach, and she's going to keep them empowered in terms of still having them go to cage confidently. Andy O'Sullivan really trying to work the 1v1. Sabrina Tabasso playing some really solid defense. And then you go Jenna Collins, split dodge to the outside.
And the bounce shot and score.
Textbook. That really is probably her favorite move that she beats defenders on. A great left to right split. We're going to get another look at that. Really hard to stop. You need two defenders to be able to slow that train down.
13:44 in the second half.
Here you have it. Great footwork. Her stick is to the outside, gets it back for a nice hard shot, well placed to the corner. Does a great job of not telegraphing that shot, hiding her stick, getting her arms back, hands free. And no slide in sight coming to her.
What a day for Jenna Collins.
Yeah,
and what a tournament, honestly. 13 points now. 7 goals, 6 assists.
Yeah, and I think she does a great job, but, you know, I think her game is aided by the fact that she's surrounded by so many other great players. You know, Meg O'Donnell really stepping up in the semis and stepping up in the first half of this game. And so Jenna's, you know, was able to kind of just blend in and kind of do her thing. And then you see her just start, you know, she makes it look easy. You know, she doesn't force anything. She just makes the most of her opportunities.
Through traffic for the Greyhounds. Camille and Co. coming toward 13 minutes left in what could be their season.
Loyola really relying on Powers to kind of stay home back there and look for feeds, and you see Navy defenders, both Hubley and Blake Smith, just start to close that double team back there and kind of sandwich the feeder. Loyola sending a lot of cutters through.
Clark and Earhart.
Powers is going to take that one herself. referee's actually going to be calling a shooting space on Blake Smith. Yeah, Powers is probably going to have to take this one in and try and bury it.
Powers with the nice face dodge. Looking for the cutter, middle of the lane.
Yeah, and Powers and Whiteford have great connection. Powers is always looking for Whiteford. Unfortunately, doesn't connect on that last pass. And it looks like they're going to award the ball on this 50-50 ball. It's going to go to Morgan Young. Morgan Young kind of cradling, weaving her way through a gauntlet of Loyola sticks and checks. Does a great job protecting. They could have a little bit of a number situation here. Small numbers coming in if they look to push it, which they do.
And they score again. What a day for the Mids. Continue to push this lead higher and higher.
Yep. And this is, we expected this out of Cindy. Not going to take the air out of the ball, going to continue to be aggressive, really get that goal differential up to as high as possible and make a statement.
And the Collins sisters once again end up following one another. Two strikes a minute and 29 seconds apart.
Yeah, and such great finishers. It's one of the best parts about the Collins game. They are both really high percentage shooters, both on the 8-meter and just in their offensive sets. And they've just got such great shots.
About 30 miles northwest of Annapolis. Their hometown of Clarksville, River Hill High School, para-regional championships during that time. And you heard Morgan Uber say, or maybe you didn't from earlier, that they could have chosen to go on their separate ways.
Yeah, and I remember recruiting both of them. At the time, I was an assistant at Navy, and we never assumed that they were a package deal. We treated both of them definitely as individuals, and once one kind of signed on, I can't remember which one was more into the idea of Navy, but once one sister started drinking the Kool-Aid at the academy, the other one kind of signed on. And it ended up being a best case scenario for Navy to get both of them. Good ball movement here by Navy.
And another goal. Young with the emphatic stick drop.
And they're going to wave that one off. And Bailey Mathis, you see her running off the field right now. I don't know if they gave her a yellow card. Let's see if somebody runs on replacing her.
I think this is the third time this has happened to Morgan Young in this tournament, where she's had a goal that didn't happen because of a whistle.
Yeah, it seems cruel, right?
It really does.
Yeah. Bailey Mathis jogging back on. It was just a stick issue. She may have gone off and grabbed a new stick, but really Navy setting themselves up for success by continuing to move the ball when Loyola went into their backer zone. And Morgan's going to get another look at the cage.
Yep. Efficiency certainly personified in this group of mids.
I think you're going to see Morgan probably pass the ball right to her left to Jenna Collins. Oh, no.
7 shots, 6 goals. That would have been 7 if Young were able to convert there, but either way, Mids have dominated the second half. Glenn just trying to clear it and get out of there. And a near steal. Clark moving it in between the boxes, but Greyhounds running out of time. And now have to deal with what is a 9-goal deficit. It's their largest of the game.
There's a wide open look. Kind of like the story of the game for Loyola, just a little disjointed, not really connecting on all these passes that they, it was like their bread and butter. A lot of the time it's just their stick work and their consistency. They only need an inch to be able to make these passes and make these catches, and they're just a little off the mark today.
Tabasso wide right, backed up. Lloyd. Now facing a Navy defense that 3 of its last 4 games held opponents to under what was 10 shots on goal. That includes today.
Yeah, really, really impressive. I feel like their zone has really come together over these last few games and been a lot more effective than it had been earlier in the season for the Mids.
Savage will get an opportunity here from the left hash, but Harris playing two-way midfield, the good slide. Tabasso fans on this shot, and Boyum continues what has been an excellent day in between the pipes.
Yeah, and Tabasso just got maybe out of a little frustration, went for that check and tried to check Boyum when she was inside the crease, and so that was a free possession for Navy.
Well, consider it the home stretch now for the Mids. Inside our final 10 minutes here in Baltimore, the Ridley Athletic Complex. The former Army head coach, or the current Army head coach, Kristen Skyra, Matt Martucci, sideline reporter Morgan Uber.
And Navy is going to have plenty of time here to get set. Loyola just right now playing a little relaxed defense, not pressing out on ball.
Collins from outside of 12. Julia Collins to sister Jenna. She and Mathis have gone at it all day. 4 goals on 8 shots for Collins. We get a whistle. Greyhounds commit a foul.
I'm not too sure. Oh, they're going to call 3 seconds.
Yep, 3 seconds.
3 seconds call.
Which is actually the opposite of a basketball 3 seconds.
Yeah.
It's when the defense is camped in there too long.
Yeah, I was a big basketball player in high school, and I always thought that was interesting.
Yeah, right?
I would have to really change my mindset.
O'Donnell trying to go top shelf. Glynn thought that one might have carabed in, but it ends up being on the back of the cage.
Yeah, O'Donnell getting a little crafty there with a backhanded shot. Just barely misses the mark. Loyola does have a little bit of a transition opportunity here if they can keep it unsettled, but looks like they're going to get settled.
Yeah, George on the run through. Well, now you get to the point, and you hate to do this, but you start to think about, whose career could be coming to an end for the Greyhounds.
Yeah, and we saw that obviously on and Tabasso will actually get a yellow card here for a dangerous shot. She shot the ball right into a Navy defender, which obviously the referees have to call that. You see she shot right into McLaughlin. Oh, I don't know if it was the ball or the stick necessarily that hit her, or maybe both. But obviously refs have to call that. It's a safety issue. And Navy's going to be man up and have a great opportunity to work down some clock. You can see Loyola just desperate to try and get the ball back here. Their attacker's doing a really good job of working hard.
Well, how big is this today? Greyhounds have never lost a regular season or tournament game. 41 total. 7 in the postseason, 34 in the regular season since joining the league a few years ago.
Yeah, and it's big, and just like with everything, once it happens one time, I think it's more likely to happen. I know Coach Jen Adams doesn't want to hear that, and I spoke to both coaches prior to the game a little bit about it. Obviously, I'm unbiased in this situation, but as another Patriot League coach, I think it's nice to have Loyola knocked off the throne at least one time, create a little bit of parity and hope for the rest of us that, it can be done on any given day. And so I think it is really big for the league if Navy does end up pulling off this win. It's nice to see a different face at the top, even if it does happen to be my arch nemesis.
Bounce shot for Collins, and this time denied by Glynn. And by the way, for the 7 other head coaches watching, you can send Kristen Skyra a thank you card anytime you want for for saying what.
I know. I probably shouldn't be that honest, but I am.
What everybody else.
I do love Coach Jen Adams a lot, though.
Yeah.
Great, but you want to see different faces having success. And
the feed from O'Donnell and Collins with maybe an exclamation point here at 6:38. Navy has pushed this to a 10-goal game. 6.5 minutes to play. And thinking about a trip, what would be the first one since 2013 to the NCAA tournament here on Campus Insiders. 6:26 to play. How about this? We're going to have a running clock. The Mids by 10. Here in the Patriot League title game. Haven't been to the tournament since 2013 under Cindy Tipchell. So what that means is pretty much everybody on this roster, this is going to be their first experience.
Definitely, and I don't think anybody saw a running clock coming for this game.
Well, and there's a look at just what Cindy Tipchell has produced in 35 total seasons. Now churning out some really, really good ones, including Jen Adams right here at this game. And, of course, Missy Darty at Penn State.
Yeah, some really good ones. I mean, those are like the best of the best listed up there. And Cindy is just the top of the food chain. And she's one of the best mentors in the game. She has an unparalleled passion for the sport, but just for women in athletics.
And going down that list, by the way, Sonia LaMonica, college teammate of Jen Adams at Maryland and a fellow Aussie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Towson's has had a great year. I know they just lost in their conference tournament, but they've been right there with all the top 20 teams in the country. They've done a great job. They play an awesome zone defense.
Yeah, Elon and James Madison today representing the CAA.
That's right. I'm interested to see how that goes. One of my former coaches at Duke, Josh Hexter, is the coach at Elon. He started the program up there, and they've had some really great success. They're ranked within the top 20 this year.
And was down there for Senior Day. They have a really good one of the best in the country, in Stephanie Asher on their attack unit.
Yep.
Jenna Collins, by the way, that last point that she ended up scoring, matching the mark for points scored in the Patriot League tournament.
So right now, Navy just trying to evade some of this high pressure from Loyola and hopefully cap off the possession with a good look at Cage.
Down to 20 seconds on this shot clock. Feed to the middle, and joining the party is O'Sullivan.
Yep, the dream scenario is definitely continuing, even just as a dream possession, to pull the Loyola defenders out and then to be able to capitalize off of something easy. And you see here Larkin with a great vision, great feed. Andy O'Sullivan, a fake and a hard finish. Kind of used the Loyola defenders to screen the goalie there a bit. But Navy's Jazz, they're starting to feel it. And like you mentioned, for these players, it'll be their first time appearing in the NCAA tournament, which is, for any team, it's the end goal, it's the end-all be-all. It's the experiences you'll remember for a lifetime. So with running clock left, we're almost just down to four minutes. So this is probably going to fly by for the Navy team.
Now that running clock with the 11-goal lead. Almost fitting that they've put 15 on the board today for a team that averaged just that this entire season. Filippelli fouled by Smith. And the junior from Devon, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, not a great hash. See if she can make something of it. And Boyum with a nice save.
Sixth one of the day, this time the kick save. The deflection for Ingrid Boyum.
And Boyum's got to be happy with her defense. In the second half, she really hasn't had to make too many saves. In the first half, she was making a ton of big saves. This half hasn't really had to make too many. Hannah Savage with a nice little pump fake there to draw shooting space. That's a pretty good hash. She does have Navy defenders crashing in from her strong hand.
But goes low, and her 10th of the year for Hannah Savage.
Yeah, just drops the head of her stick, is able to go low to low and beat Boyum on that one. Here's another look at it. Yep, just beats the goalie low to low. And so unfortunately, still 10-goal differential, so we're still going to be in running clock as we head back to this draw.
Hard to believe. Don't know that I expected this. Navy doubling up Loyola shot-wise today, won the draw control circle, won the ground ball battle, and only turned the ball over 8 times here in what is so far 58 minutes of action.
Yeah, the shot differential I think is super surprising for a really high-powered offense like Loyola. It's so far to only get 17 shots off. I mean, I really think it does say a lot about Navy's defense and their cohesion on the defensive end. And actually, so on that foul on the circle, they're actually going to send Loyola off with a yellow card. So again, we're going to see Navy man up.
So after the check to the head, ends up being the second yellow card issued. And that's it. And Navy going to finish this game on a man up. The anticipation growing as they'll be the team to represent the Patriot League.
And you can hear from the Loyola sidelines, you know, Coach Adams yelling, push it, push it, push it, but just not their day. And so if Navy wants, they're going to have the ability to run out the rest of the clock here. There's just 1 minute, 15 seconds left.
Oh, and has to be particularly gratifying for Cindy Timchel after getting to the top the last couple of years, but then falling short against one of those former players that she produced in the coaching tree. Jen Adams doing a fantastic job with this Greyhound program, but
yeah, and I think going up against a tough team like Loyola, who has been undefeated in the league, sometimes it can get more mental, you know, than physical. I don't think there's much of a physical discrepancy in the ability of these teams, but I think it's been a more mental block for Navy in the past. So it's got to feel really good. Got to give the players a lot of confidence to finally get this, to knock Loyola off, and I think it'll only fuel success moving forward for them in future matchups.
Well, you can see the anticipation building for Cindy Timchel. Running down the sideline.
Yeah, that's an excited sideline, and that is an excited head coach down there. She's got to be so happy with her team's effort, and congratulations to her and her assistant coaches for getting them to this point. They had a really great game plan, and they executed it perfectly.
Well, after 2 years of second place, the Navy Mids have flipped the script. Cindy Timchel, the teacher, over the student.
She gets the ice water shower, and the players all huddling around their goalie, Ingrid Boyum, who had an awesome performance in this final game.
Navy, the Patriot League tournament champion here in 2017. After what was a huge day for Jenna Collins. 5 goals and 8 points for Collins. And she and sister Julia overall more than half of the goals today. 3 for Julia, 5 for Jenna.
A good day at work for the Collins sisters. Actually have a good visual of Mr. Collins. Looks like a lot of parents are giving him some hugs right now.
Well, plenty more coming here from the Ridley Athletic Complex. I think that emotion and the jumping around and everything that goes with it says it all for the Mids. They get over the hump back at the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2013 on the Patriot League Network on Campus Insiders. Those who have made the trip from Annapolis and other places where Navy fans come have
How
certainly
long
been
does he want me
treated
to
to
go,
a
though?
great one. A dominating performance for Cindy Timchel and the Mids. They win the Patriot League tournament title and going back to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 4 years after Loyola basically took the league by storm. The streak for the Greyhounds ends up ending at what was 41 unblemished in their first now 4 seasons in the league. Matt Martucci, the Army head coach, Kristen Skyra, and I know, you were on this staff, you have been through this in terms of, trying to get to the top of the mountain, and you work so hard, and, you don't get there, but this time this group does, and they see the fruits of their labor pay off.
Yeah, it's just huge. It's a huge program win for Navy. It's great validation that, the hard work and pays off. You see Cindy bowing. She's on top of the world right now. It's a really good feeling for her to finally dethrone Coach Adams on Loyola, but it's great validation for the team. I felt like watching this Navy team all year, they were one of the strongest teams that Navy's ever had.
Well, they were about as good as you could be today. Doubling them up on shots. They end up almost 50% in terms of free position. That's honestly about where they were during the regular season in terms of that. And with the draw control circle, perfect on clears, and ended up with 28 of their 34 shots coming on goal, and more than half of those shots on goal resulting in goals. Like I said, I think about as much as you can ask for in terms of pulling every ounce of effort and ability from your kids.
Yeah, and I know those clearing stats aren't typically ones that end up really making or breaking a game, but for them to clear 100%, I think that's it's very impressive, but it's really indicative of the performance. They were just unshakable from their goalie to their low defenders. They were just on a warpath today.
And now down to the sideline, third member of our team, Morgan Uber, with the winning side and the head coach, Cindy Timchel.
Well, Coach, congratulations. You guys made history being the first team to ever knock off Loyola. I mean, how proud are you of these girls?
I'm so proud of Navy women's lacrosse, and it really started with the alums from before us and coming to be brave and strong against a really tough Loyola team, and we have all the respect for them. We just wanted to play together a little bit more, and that's what we committed to, so that we could continue to play together after today. So they played pretty tough and hard, and I'm so proud of the team. Thank you.
How sweet did that Gatorade bath feel?
Well, I didn't expect that. So it was a little cold, but thank you. It was really cute of the players.
Well, Coach, thanks. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Go Navy.
Back to you guys.
How about it? Cindy Timchel with the last-minute endorsement of the program. Go Mids indeed. And of course, Ryan Sakamoto and the folks from the Patriot League, Director of Communications, set to present the hardware and everything that comes with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention.
And Jenna Collins making her way over to Morgan Uber. And let's send it down to Morgan.
Well, congratulations, being the first team to ever knock off Loyola and doing it here at Ridley with this team, with these girls. I mean, how much does it mean to you to be Patriot League champions?
I mean, it means a lot. 2 years in a row we come runner-up, and we just had this sour taste in our mouth ever since. We're playing for ourselves, all the girls that didn't get this chance, and it was just amazing.
What was different this time around playing them? What was the game plan?
I guess this time it's just believing and having that confidence that we do deserve to be up on this level, and we deserve to win this championship.
Well, thank you. Oh, hold on to that hat. Congratulations. Back to you guys.
South Jenna Collins, yeah, the wind has been a factor. It always is. It seems like around this time of year here at this complex. It picks up pretty well and whips around. You can see the banner for that trophy table, going back and forth. But Navy had more than enough, and honestly, I think, getting over the hump, if you don't get there Friday night, or even if maybe they had dominated Friday night, maybe today, maybe the outcome wouldn't have been like it was today. I think Friday really served as maybe a teaching experience, a learning experience. Don't take anybody lightly, and maybe you end up getting over the hump, and that's exactly what ends up happening today.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason, and I just think, again, like just the beauty of sports is highlighted. You have, Navy, who plays probably their best performance of the year today, put together a full 60 minutes from the top down, and then you have Loyola, who honestly played pretty uncharacteristic of how they've really performed throughout the year. So anything can happen, especially in the postseason, and I think this is just a good lesson to all teams that on any given day you're capable of playing your best lacrosse. And Navy had so many people step up today, and like Coach Timschel said, they played together the entire time.
Meg O'Donnell announced is on the all-tournament team. Morgan Young, also a selection. And Megan Hubley spearheading that defense this year. Will play in what is her first NCAA tournament.
Yeah, she's going out on top as a senior.
And Jenna Collins, of course, the most outstanding player of this tournament.
And now the 2017 Patriot League Women's Lacrosse Tournament's most valuable player from Navy, number 44, Jenna Collins.
And obviously, no doubt with Jenna Collins. Thought maybe the way Meg O'Donnell started out today that she was going to be a dark horse candidate. But Jenna Collins, 5 goals on what is 10 shots, 3 assists, a ground ball, and a pair of draw controls today.
The Patriot League would like to congratulate Loyola University.
Almost single-handedly willing her team toward the title. Almost outscored the Loyola team by herself.
Yeah, and you can see how on the Navy offense, how having so many threats is really hard to defend. And I think Meg O'Donnell and Jenna Collins are a really good example. If you're going to send a double to Jenna Collins, it's most likely going to slide off an off-ball player like Meg O'Donnell, and she benefited from, the other team being hyper aware of Jenna Collins. And then you turn around and look the other way. Okay, well, if you want to guard Meg O'Donnell off-ball, that means you're not always going to be able to slide off of her. And some great dodger like Jenna Collins is going to be able to get to cage without a double team. So they kind of just work with each other really well.
Well, 7 seniors on this Loyola team. Where, obviously they will reload for next season, but a different feel here at the Ridley Athletic Complex, because this is usually their day. We talked about it being Groundhog Day for the 3rd straight year. Well, if you've ever seen the movie, Bill Murray is the character Phil Connors. He, again and again, tries to get it right until the end of the movie where everything goes well. Well, Cindy Timchel and the Mids, their Groundhog Day ends up the way they wanted to.
Yeah, and
they got it right.
Cindy out there with her 2 team captains. And now the team gets to celebrate.
Yeah, not a whole lot of seniors on this Navy team. Young is one of them, Hubley one of them.
I'm aware, Matt. I'm aware.
Get ready, Coach.
I know.
Start scouting already. You can watch the film when you get home.
Yeah, there aren't too many seniors in their starting lineup this year, so future is definitely bright for Navy.
And they end up with what is their 15th win of the year. Loyola will finish the year at what ends up being 11-8.
Thanks for your support, Loyola.
And this is exciting to see. We haven't seen Navy win the Patriot League tournament since Loyola joined, and so it kind of feels like a throwback. It's been a while since we've seen the Navy players in these hats next to the big banner.
And of course, today's Selection Sunday. See if they're part of what is typically the 2016 field.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting night for the selection shows. I know I'm going to be tuning in mainly to see if our Army men's team is going to make the tournament. They had a crazy awesome overtime win against Notre Dame last night, and I'm anxiously awaiting to see if that's going to be enough to propel them in the tournament. I am biased. I think they deserve it, so we'll see.
Putting a bow on the 2017 Patriot League Women's Tournament here on the Patriot League Network on Campus Insiders. What ends up being a 10-goal victory for the 2-seed Navy in an upset over Loyola. Matt Martucci and the Army head coach, Kristen Skyra. Complete performance, really, when you look at it for Navy. Sound defensively, balanced offensively, and honestly, they're going to be a threat to whoever they end up matched up with in the opening round of the NCAA tournament. Look out for the Mids.
Yeah, and we kept saying it today. It was dream scenario for Coach Tim Shaw and her team. They were completely at their best. Their defense was the best that I have seen them all year round. Their goalie played outstanding. And, of course, it doesn't hurt when you have Jenna and Julia Collins doing a lot of the work for you on the offensive end. They have so many threats. They've got a great feeder in Larkin. You can see on that play. Beautiful feed from Larkin to one of the Collins sisters, to Julia Collins. And then textbook split dodge the outside by Jenna Collins doing in her work on the offensive end. Total team effort. You've got one of the quickest players, Morgan Young, getting involved in the feeding. So really firing on all cylinders, defensively and offensively. Loyola just didn't have the answers today. Unfortunately, a little depleted by some injuries and illness as well.
And Sydney Timchel and company end up becoming the first team ever to beat Loyola as a member of the Patriot League. 41-game streak ends up over, and on to the NCAA tournament, awaiting their fate later today. For my broadcast partner, the Army head coach, Kristen Skyra, our statistician, Dan O'Connell, producer, Mark Natali, director, Josh Bohr, and our entire fine crew here in Baltimore, Maryland. Matt Martucci saying so long, everybody. Thanks for a great weekend. Navy, the Patriot League tournament champion, 15-5 over Loyola. For more Patriot League news, highlights, scores, stats, and more, PatriotLeague.tv and CampusInsiders.com. This has been a presentation of the Patriot League Network on Campus Insiders. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. The Mids on top.